Editing is a process. And what I find is we have to find our own way. So I'm going to talk you through what I do, give you lots of ideas, and then my advice is it's an iterative process with lots of reflection in between, and for you to find a way that works for you. So where do you start? Well, start with a plan. Remember, it's about putting the time in your diary. Do one thing at a time. This is all about chunking. Do a chapter at a time. The synopsis that you created, use that to come back and check, have you answered those questions? Does it flow? Is it talking to my reader? You may want to get your book professionally copy edited. And if you do, ask for changes to be highlighted. Make sure you create a good working relationship with this person, discuss, reflect, and lots of rewriting. Now, not everybody uses a professional copy editor. Certainly what everyone needs to do is have a professional proofreader, but you may find that you're pretty cool at the editing process and won't need a professional. So what I find is that works for me is I'll read, leave, allow lots of this reflecting time so that I can process what needs to be done. It's all about getting that feedback and then assimilating what comes up in those reflective periods and making a decision about what we keep, what we don't keep, how we move things around, do we like the layout, all of those kind of things. It's quite a process when you go through the editing. So we've got the checklist, and this checklist just reminds us that we need to do various bits and pieces and literally just chunk everything down. Make sure that all of the things that are related to your book, there is a checklist for it, or there's an item on your checklist for it. You may want to use a change log as you're going through each of the chapters. What I tend to do these days is I use different coloured pens when I go through when I've got a proof book. Now you may not have a proof book right at the very beginning. In fact, you won't. So having a change log is really useful. Like I say, I use lots of coloured pens, so that's what works for me these days. A style guide is absolutely vital for your proofreader. So this particular book here, this is a book called Navigate. It's a book about executive leadership, and it was written by 4 people, one of whom was American. So we had to make decisions like it was British English, not American English. And we made decisions. We had lots and lots of discussions about how things should be laid out. And so you create a style guide so that when the proofreader is going through, they go, right, these are the kind of words that this person uses. This is what happens when we're quoting other people. This is what happens with our images. So they know exactly what they're looking at. I have my synopsis open, so you can now start to see other benefits of that synopsis document. So we have the synopsis open and we're looking at it and we're going, have we answered those questions? Have we covered the what, the why, the how, and the what if? What about our key messages? Are they strong? Have we done a powerful call to action? And we do this chapter by chapter by chapter. So this is what I do. This is what works for me. You read the whole book and then you leave it. So I tend to do this on a weekend. Then I read the whole book with a pen and I edit it. Then I leave it. And what I do is I go chapter by chapter by chapter, editing what I've done in that first pass. Now, it's an iterative process with lots and lots of reflection time. You have to find a process for you and do things in chunks. So let me repeat. I read the whole book and I leave it. I edit the whole book and then I go onto my computer and I edit a chapter at a time. Then I use my checklist and I will do things like I will do a spell check, a grammar check. I will check for things like consistency and flow. I will check the steps. Now, I may or may not print, but I get to a point where then I am then ready to upload it to Kindle Direct Publishing and get myself one or many proof books. I go through the proofing stage quite a lot. So, you know, I might get my first proof book, and when it comes back, I'll edit it with my coloured pens and whatever. I may then do another proof copy before I send it off to the proofreader. I think what happens is you have to work in a way that works for you, and you must have lots and lots of reflection time. So I use lots of tools that help me read my book in different ways. So I use Word, I use Grammarly, I will print it out and read silently. I'll print it out and read aloud. Reading aloud is immensely powerful. And what I do with my clients is I read the chapters aloud to them, and I edit it while they listen and tell me what's right or wrong. Proofreader comes later. So when we're going to start this, we decide the night before which section we're going to do, and we start to get ourselves prepared. Read your synopsis. Set a timer for 55 minutes, just edit, take a 10-minute break, start again. This is very much like the writing process, except we're now editing. Now, other things you can do is read something else. So if you've got a great novel on the go, when you go to bed, read the novel so that you're making your brain, your mind, analyze, read, enjoy things in a different way. And remember, if something is working, don't break it. Now, it's your work and it's your voice, and it's your responsibility to keep your voice in your book. So have that editing checklist and plan ready. Find a process that works for you, lots and lots of reflection time, and go through all of this iterative process until your final manuscript is ready, at which stage we then upload it onto Kindle Direct Publishing and we get a proof book, and that enables us to read our book in a very, very different way, and it's truly, truly magical.